18.
Hello, welcome to this special broadcast in collaboration with Hitachi Energy. We're getting you the India for Sustainable Energy Roundtable. And the big focus today is the energy and digital transformation for a carbon neutral future. Every country is considering how to go net zero. Everyone has their own targets. They all have their own needs, all development needs, which have to be balanced against the needs of climate, needs of the environment as well. Let me introduce all our guests to you. We've got Praveer Sinha, CEO and Managing Director, Tata Power. We've got N. Venu, Managing Director and CEO, India and South Asia at Hitachi Energy. A.K. Mishra, CEO, EESL. And we also have Debashish Mishra, Partner Leader, Energy Resources and Industrial Products, Deloitte India. Thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Sinha, let me begin by asking you, what are some of the global benchmarks that India can look at when it comes to having a carbon neutral vision?
I don't think there could have been more appropriate time for India to start discussing that how do we move and transition from where we are today, where more than 70% of our energy comes from coal, to become net zero. And I think the articulation that our Honorable Prime Minister did in COP26 very clearly brings out that we are looking at a 2070 target. But having said that, I think what we need to look at that what are the midterm targets that we have set for ourselves. We have said that 500 gigawatt of non-carbon generation will happen by 2030, and we are talking of just 9 years hence. Right now, we are at 150 gigawatt of non-carbon generation. So there's nearly 350 gigawatt that needs to be added in the next 9 years. And I think this is a very ambitious target that the country has set for itself, something that it had not done in the last 75 years. And I think this will be a real tribute that if we can complete the aspirations that the country has set for itself. When we look at benchmarks, I think we also need to look at what stages of development each country is, what is the expectation and aspiration of the country, and also the people of this country. We have still one of the lowest per capita consumption, and we need to enhance that. Our present generation capacity is just 380 gigawatt, and we are talking of 500 gigawatt of only non-carbon. So I think we have a very, very good roadmap for ourselves, and if we are able to meet the targets that we have set for ourselves, there is no reason we may, in fact, end up achieving the net zero carbon much before 2070. So I'm very confident that the way the country is moving, the way the policy interventions are taking, the regulatory steps that are being taken, and the Indian industry is lapping up the opportunity. I think this is something which is very doable.
Right. Let me get in a word from Mr. N. Venu of Hitachi Energy. Mr. Venu, if I were to ask you, how important is it for companies to work on their energy transformation, digital transformation for a carbon neutral future? When we're speaking about these 2050 goals, India has also spoken about 5 commitments at COP26. How critical is it for companies to make those changes?
Yeah. So thank you, Parikshit. Just to add to what Dr. Praveer Sinha said, so when we're talking about the sustainability or the commitment to the COP26, we are talking about a global challenges, a global problems. It's all need to be done together in a very coordinated way, in a very collaborative manner. And it's not about a one company or one nation or one individual can do that. So when it comes to companies like Hitachi Energy, we are in the business of providing a mission critical technology to our customers, whether they're utilities, industries, or infrastructure, enabling carbon neutral future. So since we are in this business, so we have kept sustainability at center of our strategy. It's a cornerstone of what we do in that. So we have, in the last year, 2021, we announced our 2030 sustainability strategy. As part of that, we are looking at both short-term goals, mid-term goals, and the long-term goals.
Thank you for those opening remarks. Let me get in Mr. A.K. Mishra of EESL. Mr. Mishra, organizations are revisiting their strategies to align themselves with COP26 targets, India's COP26 targets and pledges as well. Give us a sense of how EESL may have modified some of its plans, targets after some of the announcements made by the Prime Minister.
Thank you, Parikshit. Yeah, I wasn't good. Thank you for this panel, and let me rephrase some of your questions. That as far as the targets are concerned, as at EESL, we had those targets not in numbers but in principles, walking the talk, and we are doing an energy efficiency interventions as a joint venture of central PSUs. And the primary idea of EESL being there was that we have to have an efficient, energy efficient product process and improvement so that our overall global warming is low. So to that extent, our primary strategy has been there. And what we are expanding as of now, based on the success of our first two initiative, is we have to move towards creating more of the entities and which owns the process of energy efficiency.
Let me get in Debashish at this point, Debashish Mishra of Deloitte. Debashish, how do you think India's green hydrogen plan provides an opportunity to power companies, India's manufacturing companies? What is critical for the success of this mission?
Obviously, India has a very ambitious target in terms of the entire power sector sourcing more and more energy from the green sources. But many part of the overall economy, what we call the hard to abate sector, where things like fertilizer, your refinery, cement, steel, parts of heavy transportation, those consumption cannot be electrified. That's where the role of green hydrogen would come. You would have seen last week, Government of India announced the first phase of the green hydrogen policy, where the manufacturer and user of green hydrogen were allowed basically to have 25 years of free transmission facility. It's a very attractive policy. Going forward, they will announce the second phase also, where there will be sectors where obligations will be brought in, manufacturing lead incentives will be brought in through probably a PLI scheme. So overall, the roadmap is currently green hydrogen comes around $5.5–6 per kg. If it comes to around $1.5–2 per kg level, then a lot of our traditional fossil fuel consumption also can be converted into green and clean. So that's the overall roadmap as far as the green hydrogen mission is concerned.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for those opening remarks. Mrs. Sinha, tell us about some of the innovations, some of the AI applications that you're bringing into your organization to meet the energy transition targets.
Yeah, so I think the technology interventions, one is the operational technology, wherein the efficiency has to improve of the cells and modules that we continue to work on. But in terms of operation, what we do now is we have an online monitoring system. And that means on a real-time basis, we are able to monitor whether it is the solar panels or it is the wind turbines, the blades of the wind turbines, to see as to how they are working and if there are any hotspots or any changes that we need to do. And these are being done on a real-time basis, so we get information. There are algorithms which are developed based on our analysis, and especially in terms of what is the global experience that we have. And based on that, we are able to enhance and improve the quality of yield or output from. So there's a whole lot of artificial intelligence. There's a whole lot of work that we do it with drones, where the drones cameras are being used to fly over these equipments and machines and see whether they are working properly. And that helps us not only in improving the yield, but also to do condition-based monitoring and condition-based replacement or repair of any of the equipment. So I think what we are seeing is that there's a whole lot of artificial intelligence that goes into now operating of plants and bringing efficiency. And we feel that going forward, more and more of these uh, artificial intelligence solutions, sensors, IoT devices will be used for improving and enhancing the output from these machines.
Let me also ask you about some of the immediate targets that you have in mind for the next 5 to 10 years when it comes to clean energy. What is likely to be India's overall capacity by 2030?
So India has already committed in the COP26 summit that 350 gigawatt will be the non-carbon, will be the new generation capacity that will get added. We have committed actually 500 gigawatt. We already are 150 with about 105 of renewable and about 46 of hydro, and 350 gigawatt will get added. As a company, we have committed that from our present 31% of our generation capacity, which is non-carbon, we will increase it to 60% by 2025-26 and and to 80% by 2030.
Climate change.
CNBC TV18.com.
Now, let me also get in our other panelist, Mr. Venu, if I can come to you. What types of carbon neutral specific targets are defined for your own operations, products, or services to customers?
Yeah. So thank you, Parikshit. Very good question. As I told you in previously, so since we are in the business of providing the technology to our customers, so we also taken a very aggressive and ambitious target for our own use. By 2030, we want to be carbon neutral in our own operations in India. So we have around 17 manufacturing factories in India, and over more than 50 project sites are there, and we use the electricity. And we said the first target is that all these things will be powered through 100% fossil-free electricity, which we have already achieved. The second one is the products what we are delivering to our customers. Some of those products has a SF6 gas. So we are looking at alternative to SF6 gas, like econic gas, which is much more environment friendly, and that's what we are using it. And in the same way, to give another example, we have also partnered with the Tata Power to supply our green transformer, Easter field transformer, which is also friendly. And then we are bringing the footprint of our products things. That way we are reducing the carbon footprint of our products in that. And the third one is we are partnering with some of the academia institutions, like we are partnering with the NIT Warangal, we are partnering with the IIT Roorkee, and we are also partnering with the IIT Madras to run the pilots in these kind of technologies over there in that, whether it's the smart grids in NIT Warangal, or it is running our fast charging electrical vehicles in IIT Madras, or making a campus in IIT Roorkee as a more eco-friendly, as well as completely digital, and those kind of things are very much part of our strategy, and that's exactly what we are doing right now in that. So all this thing again boils down to our 2030 carbon neutral strategy there. So the key is that we have the technology to enable the carbon neutral future, but the important thing is that make this technology available as and also viable at locally. That's exactly what we are doing.
Okay. Mr. Mishra, if I can come to you now, any technologies, digitalization, business innovations that you have in mind to achieve your targets, be it for electric vehicles or setting up charging infrastructure?
It is counterproductive to have any one. We'll have to go with multiple, and that's where our strategy lies. The technical digitalization supporting the business innovation that's where the solution is. So in case of EV charging infra, we are enabling the consumers to have a pre-advance booking as well as locational choices, and then running an artificial intelligence to come to know that what's the likely behavior and users pattern. So all those combined are being put into the use. And when it comes to the enabling of the larger national goal, we are looking at technologies, varied technologies, where the minimum energy uh, efficiency improvement we are looking at is not 90%, which we did in Ujala, but yes, more than 20%, ideally 35 plus percent. And we are handling these things as energy as a service to MSME as well as all larger industries also.
Thank you for those remarks. Let me get in Debashish Mishra once again. Debashish from SAS, we are now moving into the era of energy as a service. How do you see the business models adapting to this new era, aligned to the consumer?
Yeah, so the overall movement is also like SaaS is asset light, and consumers need not have to go through the complexity of putting up asset, sourcing it themselves, predicting their demand. As you've been talking to other panelists, there are a lot of tools now available to using AI and advanced analytics to understand the pattern of consumption, whether it linked to weather or past events, stuff like that. So understanding the consumer's energy consumption pattern, and the sourcing could be from multiple sources, as Mr. Mishra was mentioning, AK Mishra was mentioning just now. Also, there is a big source which is going to come from the market itself. As you know that Indian energy market, particularly in the power sector, we have a day ahead market. Now we are moving into a real time market. That will also integrate a lot of the renewable sources. So what a energy as a services company can do is, understand the consumer's energy consumption pattern and source clean and green energy from different IPPs who are producing clean energy backed by some kind of storage, whether it is battery storage or pumped hydro storage or any other advanced technology it comes, also sourcing it from the market. So both
Right.
demand and supply side will have a lot of technological intervention, and ultimately consumer can access clean and green energy without owning any of the assets, and without any of those headaches. So it's almost like tapping into the cloud, like today in the software world. Consumer will also be tapping into clean energy, green energy through these kind of suppliers who will be called the energy as a services companies.
Right. Mr. Venu, how do you think energy and digital platforms can bring all stakeholders together to co-innovate, co-create in order to meet common objectives?
So again, I'll just take a step back. Today, if you take the electricity of the total energy system, roughly around 20%. All the indications are that it's going to be doubled or tripled depending upon the geography in the next 20 years. So we need to do more electrification, more electrification of the electrical vehicles, industries, buildings, and wherever it is not possible, as we talked about, alternative such as green hydrogen, all those things to be done. But on the back end, for this kind of electrification is run through the renewable energy, right? And while at the same time, the grid also need to be evolved over a period of time to take care of these kind of challenges faced arising out of the renewable, right? Intermittency. We don't know when the sun shines, when the wind blows, and taking care of those kind of things. And new forms of the loads, are, for example, electrical vehicles, also has a lot of challenges associated with that. In that, so the digitalization of the whole network, right from the generation, transmission, distribution, and the consumption side, is extremely important.
One final question, Mr. Sinha. What is the one success metric, according to you, if we have to succeed in our energy transition goals?
I think how much of it's not in megawatt, but how much of our energy usage we can convert into clean energy, and I think that will be a very very important metric if we have to move forward. So, can we move to 50% of our energy usage will be renewable energy, and how we can transition to that stage, and over a period of time, how can we make it 100%? And when we talk of that, it means 24/7 energy, and it does not mean just intermittent supply through solar and wind, but also a combined solution with storage and hydrogen.
Right. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Mr. Sinha. Final comments from our guests, Mr. Venu. Anything that you'd like to point out which would be critical for India to meet its clean energy goals and clean energy targets?
No, I think it's very clear that we need to look at the metrics. The metrics should be the reduction of the carbon footprint, energy efficiency, and also the reliability is the key in ensuring that the power system achieves, our power sector as a whole in India achieves the carbon neutral vision in India.
Right. Debashish, any final comments?
Yeah, no, it's going to be a very exciting journey, as many energy sector leaders are saying. Every country's energy transition will be different, but in India's case, the transition away from fossil fuel, it has to be well calibrated, and it also offers a huge opportunity, as Mr. Ambani mentioned. The entire 20-year period, next 2 decades, is going to be very exciting in that energy space, and he said that almost 25-30 companies of Reliance size can emerge. So India becoming not only reducing its own carbon footprint through moving towards a green and clean future, India can also provide that manufacturing base so that the world move towards it. So that it's going to be a very exciting phase in our overall journey as an economy and as a country.
Right. So of course we're heading in a fast-moving, dynamic, and exciting space. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us on this Energy Roundtable by Hitachi Energy. Lots to think about. Thank you for your time, and goodbye.
Bye.
Thank
Thank you.